Have you ever stood on the edge of death and lived to tell the story? I have. And what I'm about to share with you will change the way you think about life, luck, and the incredibly thin line that separates the two. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm here, breathing, talking to you right now. Because, just a few years ago, I shouldn't have been. The doctors said it was impossible. The rescue team called it a miracle. This is the story of how I came within seconds of disaster and somehow, against all odds, walked away. It started like any other Tuesday morning. I woke up, had my coffee, kissed my family goodbye. There were no warning signs, no premonitions. That's the terrifying truth about disasters. They don't announce themselves. They just happen in the blink of an eye, in the space between one heartbeat and the next. I was driving to work on a route I'd taken 1,000 times before. The sun was shining, the radio was playing my favorite song, Normal. Completely, beautifully normal. And then, in less than 3 seconds, normal became a word I would spend months trying to remember the meaning of. They say time slows down in moments of extreme danger, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that it's true. I saw the truck lose control in the opposite lane. I watched, as if in slow motion, as it crossed the median. The rational part of my brain was calculating trajectories, speeds, impact points. The primal part was screaming one word over and over, move, move, move. I yanked the steering wheel hard to the right. My tires screamed against the asphalt. The truck missed my driver's side door by less than 6 inches. 6 inches between me and certain death. But my sudden maneuver sent my car careening toward the guardrail at 70 miles per hour. And on the other side of that guardrail, a 200-foot drop into a rocky ravine. My car hit the guardrail with such force that it crumpled like paper. The airbags deployed, filling the cabin with white powder and the smell of burnt chemicals. Glass shattered around me like deadly rain. And then came the sensation I will never, ever forget. The sickening feeling of weightlessness as my car began to tip over the edge. I was hanging there, literally suspended between life and death. The front half of my car was over the cliff, the rear wheels still barely gripping the road. Through my shattered windshield, I could see the rocks below, jagged and waiting. I knew that if I moved, if I even breathed too hard, I would tip the balance and plunge to my death. Have you ever tried to stay completely still when every instinct in your body is screaming at you to run? When your heart is pounding so hard you think it might explode. That's where I was, hanging in a metal coffin over a cliff, trying not to move. Trying not to think about my family. Trying not to imagine the fall. I could hear voices in the distance. Someone was calling 911. Someone else was yelling for me to stay still, to hold on. But all I could focus on was the creaking sound of metal bending, the tiny movements as the car settled further over the edge. Every second felt like an eternity, and the most terrifying thought kept running through my mind. What if the rescue team does get here in time? Then I heard it, the most beautiful sound I've ever heard in my life. Sirens, getting closer. The rescue team had arrived in under 4 minutes. I heard boots on asphalt, urgent voices coordinating, the mechanical whir of equipment being deployed. A firefighter appeared at my passenger side window, his face calm but his eyes betraying the severity of the situation. "Don't move," he said, his voice steady and sure. "We're going to get you out of there. I need you to trust me and do exactly what I say." I nodded, not daring to speak, tears streaming down my face. He told me they were going to secure the car with cables, that I needed to stay absolutely still for just a little bit longer. The rescue team worked with incredible speed, securing heavy cables to my car and anchoring them to their trucks. I could feel the car stabilizing, could feel the pressure releasing as the cables took the weight. The firefighter carefully broke away what was left of the passenger window and reached in. "I'm going to release your seatbelt," he said. "When I do, you're going to feel yourself falling forward. I'm going to catch you. Ready?"
Ow.
I wasn't ready.
Ow.
I would never be ready. But I nodded anyway. He released the belt, and true to his word, he caught me. Strong hands pulled me through the window, away from the car, away from the edge, away from death. My legs gave out the moment my feet touched solid ground. I collapsed onto the asphalt, my entire body shaking uncontrollably. I was alive, I was breathing, I was safe. The reality of what had just happened hit me all at once. I sobbed like I've never sobbed before, great heaving gasps that came from somewhere deep in my soul. The paramedics checked me over. Miraculously, I had only minor injuries, cuts from the glass, bruises from the airbag, whiplash from the impact. Nothing broken, nothing life-threatening. The paramedic shook his head in disbelief. "You should be dead," he said quietly. "That car should have gone over. I don't know how it didn't. Neither did I." The days that followed were strange. I was physically fine, but mentally, I was somewhere else entirely. I would wake up in the middle of the night, reliving those moments hanging over the cliff. PTSD, they called it. The invisible wound of surviving the unsurvivable. But slowly, with therapy and support from my family, something shifted. I began to see my survival not as random chance, but as a second chance. A gift. How many people get to stare death in the face and walk away? My disaster became my awakening. If there's one thing I want you to take away from my story, it's this. Life is fragile. Incredibly, heartbreakingly fragile. We walk around thinking we have all the time in the world, that disasters happen to other people, that tomorrow is guaranteed. But it's not. Every moment is a gift that can be taken away in seconds. I don't live in fear now. Quite the opposite. I live with intention. I tell the people I love that I love them every single day. I don't put off my dreams for some day, because I know, in a way most people never will, just how quickly everything can change. Just how precious and precarious this life really is. So here I am, years later, sharing my story with you. Came within seconds of disaster. Seconds. A different angle, a slightly higher speed, a guardrail just a little bit weaker. Any of these things, and I wouldn't be here. But I am here, and so are you. We're alive, right now, in this moment. So what are you going to do with that gift? What dreams have you been putting off? What words have you left unsaid? Don't wait for your own near-death experience to start living. Start now. Start today. Because as I learned in the most terrifying way possible, we're all just seconds from disaster. And we're all just seconds from miracle. The question is, which one will define your life? If my story moved you, if it made you think about your own life differently, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And please, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you're grateful to be alive today. Thank you for listening to my story. Now go out there and live yours like it matters, 'cause it does.